Alright guys, so got another story for you. So this was about 14 years ago, and I was working at a restaurant, and man, I was really jonesing for a game. I trying to find anybody I can just go play a D&D game with, and so I forgot I went to some type of online service and everything to go ahead and get linked up with a game. So lo and behold, I find this game that I can go to, and it's right down the road from my house, so it's real convenient for me to go ahead and make it to this game. So I'm really stoked because there's like 9 players at this game. I'm excited. But before I get there, I'm thinking to myself, oh shit, I have no idea what these people are like, and I don't want to come into someone else's game and have them, kill my character because, hey, let's face it, I'm an outsider and I'm entering in their game, and if any of you guys have jumped into anybody else's game, there's a bunch of other people, they know each other and you don't know them and they don't know you. You know that there's a massive inherent danger to this type of game. So what I did was I made a character that I felt that would not be a danger to the actual group. So first off, I said, okay, I'm gonna make a female, and then I thought to myself, I know some asshole is gonna sexually harass her, and if not, at least one person, because we're talking about a group of 9 people, that someone's bound to do it. So I decided that I was gonna make her into a little girl, and so then I got this really cool idea. I'm like, I mean, this is cool. So, and I made her a cleric. So she heals the party. So everybody's gonna like her because she's the one that keeps them alive. It's a girl, and it literally is a girl. So she's 10 years old, and so she's like this savant or whatever. I don't know, like the golden child or something. She's chosen by God and everything to maybe one day be his or her avatar or something like that. And I just dumped that healing stat in her and everything, gave her like a bow and all this other stuff, and she was an elf, and well, the equivalency, I want to say it was elf or human, and so I get to this game, and it was a really, it was kind of a new feel for me, because so I get in there, they got this huge table, it's a bunch of guys that live together and everything, and they have a bunch of other friends that come over, and they have this chemistry and everything. There's a couple guys that bring beers. They sit down, they drink like 6 beers, have this game and everything, and real cool environment. And so I come out and I say, okay, very clear. Everybody asks, so what's your character and all this other shit, and I'm like, it's a cleric who's like a 10-year-old female girl, and I made this really clear, because I wanted, because the whole concept of making a cleric that's a 10-year-old little girl was because I wanted them to be aware of that before they decided to go ahead and PK me, because I didn't know how this group was going to be. So I really emphasize this I think to an extensive point, that and I role played it too and everything, that is a 10-year-old little girl. There was no misunderstanding about this. And sure enough, I swear, like 5 times in a row, this guy sexually harasses her. And each time I look over at him, and we have this really awkward moment, because I go, she's a 10-year-old little girl. Does your character get aroused by 10-year-old little girls? And each time, he got uncomfortable with it, And like because I was calling him out on it, I'm like, okay, you know, I told you this, and then he'll do it again, and I'm like, you know, we've been through this. She's a 10-year-old little girl. Um, you know, she doesn't, you know, she doesn't have breasts. She doesn't have any of this stuff. She's straight up and down little pole. There's nothing sexual about her and everything. She's very non-sexual. She's a little girl. You know, it's a girl. I'm like, is there something wrong? Now I did this like 5 times, and each time this guy made some type of inappropriate comment. And you know, I mean, you can see that you know, I went at this at an angle and everything to kind of give myself a kind of like a security blanket entering this group, because I didn't want the group to PK my character. I wanted, you know, if my character ended up dying, I wanted to get, you know, a couple feet into this and everything so I could fill out the group and everything before I made my next character. You know, because I didn't expect her to live. But I expected to kind of come in the game and kind of get the flow for the game and everything before, you know, I possibly made my real character. But it aghasted me that, you know, and I don't know if the guy forgot, but I mean, like, we're talking about, and we did a long game session. It was like 8 hours and everything. And the first time someone pulls your card and says that you're sexually harassing a 10-year-old girl, and they're kind of implying that you're a pedophile, I don't think you forget that. Um, the first time someone calls me a pedophile, I damn sure wouldn't forget that. You know, that's kind of like one of those things I put in my back pocket and remember for the rest of my life. You know, I'm like, what the? Um, but I had to tell this guy like 5 times throughout the game, like it you know, it actually started to get it kind of awkward for me because I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have played a 10-year-old little girl, you know, because maybe I just pulled his strange card, and I meant like, you know, I was having a really awkward moment with it, and it was just this one guy in this group, and I'm like, this is getting really, 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 really strange, and you know, I'm starting to question, you know, like seriously, I definitely questioned, should I have played this character? And for very different reasons, you know, because you know, because I'm getting awkward on it. You know, nobody wants to sit into a game session and everything and kind of see the battlefield, and you see the skeezy old guy over here and he's hitting on a 10-year-old little girl. Nobody wants to be there for that. And to see it over and over and over again. And the first time I said it to him and everything, because I wanted just to overemphasize, okay, it's a little girl, you know, and you know, just to say, okay, now you realize it's a little girl and everything, because apparently you didn't hear me when I said it the first time. But now you're gonna know and everything, and be like, oh, okay, you know, I didn't realize. I thought you were playing a woman. You know what I mean? And so I was just gonna be a misogynistic asshole, and and that would have been cool. You know, it meant, you know, people make mistakes. You can't physically see her out on the battlefield and everything, but you know, the 5th time, and each time I said something, he got visually irritated with me. So, you know, like I could have bought that he was doing it to mess with me. You know what I mean? Sometimes someone's so secure in their who they are, you know, that they're like, you know, I can do this to just to mess with you. I remember working at the I worked somewhere overseas, and we had these 2 MPs, and this was hilarious. So they were giving us this briefing, and they were teaching us how to do this job and everything. And the job that we were doing, the nature of what we were doing was a very dangerous job. It was a job. We were dealing with very dangerous people, and our job was a very important job. And while all this is transpiring, and this is nothing but, you know, there are some women in the room and everything, but everybody here in this room, man, female, whoever, is tough as nails. This is a room full of America's finest, and these two guys, one of them gingerly sits down on the knee of the other one while the guy's teaching this class, and and giving us this really strong briefing and everything about the dangers of what we're doing, and and what we're representing, and the whole time he's sitting on that guy's knee, and everybody's noticed this and everything, and everybody's playing stupid. And the one guy, he has like longer hair because we're overseas and you can get away with longer hair at the time. Um, and he's running his fingers through his hair, like caressing his hair. And he did this for like 20 minutes. And I mean, he just went on. And finally, and then this is before the whole, in the military, it's acceptable and stuff like this. And so finally the guy snaps, the teacher, and he's like, stop it. And then everybody just starts laughing because, the whole time they're doing this, it's just to mess with people. They're not, they just wanted to pull someone's leg because they're that secure in their manhood that they could do that. And in the military, people do stuff like that all the time and everything. It's just a jerk with people. And but this guy here, because I've been accustomed to a lot of that type of behavior and everything, and in the type of stuff that I've dealt with and everything. But I wasn't getting that vibe from him. He was getting mad, and like he was getting mad, not because, and I really hope I'm wrong here. I really, really hope for the sanctity of all that is right in the world, that I'm wrong. But I don't think he was getting mad at me because he kept messing up and doing that. I think he was getting mad at me because I was calling him out on it, and I don't think he's seen that there was a problem with it. And like I said, I really hope that I'm 100% wrong on this, but and had it only happened twice, I would have bought that. I would have bought that, like he's the guy's an idiot, he's stupid, and he just made the same mistake twice. But he did that like 5 times in a row, and I have a really hard time thinking someone's that stupid. But ironically, I mean, he ended up stopping by the following game session, and the interesting thing was we made it through the first game session, and we XP wasn't allocated for whatever reason. I didn't put too much thought into it and everything. I kind of assumed that we're first level characters, we'll come back and we'll just level up and be level 2 for the next game session. So we come back and we do the game. We do another game session, and he, the guy's minding his P's and Q's. I didn't call him out on it like 5 times. I ended up having to call him out on some other stuff. He did some other misogynistic thing, and and like I don't know if he's never had a girlfriend or something like that, or but he was just making inappropriate comments, like and he, in all other aspects, the guy didn't seem like there was something wrong with him. He didn't seem like he was autistic and he just didn't know what to say. He seemed like he just didn't care. You know what I mean? Like he's like, this is the way I am. I don't care. So he just really kind of guy that just gives you this really uncomfortable vibe. The kind of guy that you expect to have a panel van and luring around parks and stuff like that, giving out free candy to kids. God, man, I know that sounds horrible. But one of the real kickers for me, and because I've dealt with all sorts and everything throughout my life, and the kicker for me in this game was finishing up the second game session. Now, We came in and we'd start this game like in the morning, and we'd fight one thing after another. And I mean, we're talking about these were some long game sessions, you know, and I'd say at least 8 to 12 hours were these game sessions. And so I come into the second game session, and I forgot what transpired, but for whatever reason, we did the XP at the end of the game session, because I made it 2 game sessions, because this I recall. And so we make it, and you know it's late as shit. We're ending the second game. We started off at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and you know, something early, and we did like 8-12 hours on this game. And so now we've done put anywhere from like 16 to 24 hours into this game, over the course of 2 different game sessions. And so he's divvying up loot and XP. So apparently I hadn't missed like the XP, I think, for the first session or whatever. That's not how he does XP or something. He had some weird freak monkey system. And so he turns around and he tells everybody in the group. Now there's 9 players in this group, myself included. And he asks for how much XP, and he tells us 100. Okay. And that's it. You do realize it's 2,000 XP to level up, and we're playing this game once a week, right? Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, you always give 100 XP like this? And, yeah. So, let's do the math here. That's 20 weeks. Unless you're a rogue, and then that's 12 weeks. So, it would take a rogue 12.5 weeks to reach level 2. It would take them then, after that, to reach level 3. 6 months from that day. 6 months. For me to reach level 2, because I believe it was 2,000 experience points, was 5 months. Well, give or take, probably 4.5 months, you know, because months don't consist of 28 days. Except for like February. But at that point I was like, you know, I could buy like, and I could really buy this. I have no qualms with, if you take a party and you take them to like 5th to 7th level, and you slow it down, and you just have them at 5th to 7th level for what would seem eternity. I can buy that, you know. I can buy that. But a 1st level character for 5 months? That is hell. You're going to tell me that in 5 months that guy ain't going to die? There ain't no way that no player is going to not suffer. And we're, you know, granted, you get max hit points level 1. You know, hopefully you get max hit points level 1. And I think we got max hit points level 1. So we're probably +2 to Constitution. So I'm looking at like 10 hit points. You're going to tell me at no point that during a combat I'm not going to suffer 11 or 10 points of damage in the next 5 months? And, you know, in the old rules and everything, you didn't want to go under that magical mark, because unlike the new system and everything, the old system, you were done, son. They started adding in this stuff where you can go up to -10 hit points and shit like that and everything. But the old system was brutal. You had, and as I recall, those 2 sessions, neither one of them were, they were not easygoing sessions. And this group had played there with him for a long time. I mean, they were accustomed to this, and he had just started this game over, and apparently he'd been running games like this for a while. And and I'm all for it. If that's your thing, that's your thing. If you want to run games like that, you know, who am I to stop you? I mean, you got eight players that are there that are all about it. You know what I mean? They're all good with playing a game that lasts 5 months to get you to level 2. Um, that's definitely not my cup of tea. And I thought it was kind of ironic, and I thought that it was peculiar when I seen I seen 3 characters that were like 3 or 4 characters that were like triple classed characters. And if y'all know about the triple class, they used to have a multi-class and everything, so you'd end up being like a bunch of classes all at once and everything. But it would take longer for you to hit that level 2. And this guy straight up told me, he said he gives out 100 XP per session. And so I ended up getting like 200 points. I think in the end it was like 200 points, but it equated like 100 points for each session. So, and we're talking about a game that occurred once a week, and you were playing 8 to 12 hours, an entire session for 100 experience points. And yeah, I couldn't do that. That was brutal. You can't. Oh my God! Can you imagine trying to go from like level 3 to 4? You know what I mean? You would be that character for like the next 2 years. I mean, that's insanity. Because or a wizard. God forbid a wizard. I mean, 2,500 to get to the first level. That's, oh my God. That's 250 weeks to get to the second level. 250 weeks. I mean, how many weeks are in a year? I mean, to get to level 2. And back then, unless you were a specialist, you only had like 2 spells. You had your bonus spell for your intelligence, which assuming you would definitely have the, for at least for level 1, you would have the bonus spell for the intelligence. But you're looking at like 2 spells. And you have, for the course of a year, well, not quite a year, at least like 7 months, you would have like 2 spells. And that was just per day. If the day ran long, you were just out of luck, and your combat abilities were crap because, I mean, I don't care what level of min-maxing you do and everything. If it takes that long to level up, you're ineffectual, and you're going to be ineffectual till the end of time. I mean, it's got to be pretty cool by the time you're level 10. But I would imagine by the time you're level 10, you're probably signing your will by then. I'm done. I played the only game I've ever played in my entire life. What the hell are you gonna do? I mean, you probably get bored with your character by then. You're like, man, I'm ready to make another character. This character, I've done everything I can do, and I'm level 1. I've literally thought out every different way I'm gonna level this guy up, and that's it. It's like one of those things where, when you finally make it that level, you just slap the paper down on the table and everything. Be like, oh yeah, this is my level 2 character, already done. You know what I mean? Because you already know what you're gonna do, because you'd already thought it out in your head, like over the last 6 months that it took to level. But I shit you not, it was like 100 XP to level up, or 100 XP per session. I swear I thought he was joking with me. So when he first told me, I was like, really? Seriously? And he was serious. And I'd seen him so many times after that, because I stopped playing the game, and he dropped by the restaurant all the time. And I asked him about that, and I was like, why? And he's like, that's the way I run my games. Like, That's the way I do it. So that's explanation. I'm like, that's not explanation. That's just saying you do it. That's just reiterating what you just said. But yeah, I like I said, I've seen some crazy stuff playing games, and this is just another case of uh, just the wildness of the stuff that I've seen. All right, guys.